Babe of the day. Babe of the day. Zoe Trilling. A while back, I did a short video on two actresses, collectively. Merle Kennedy and Zoe Trilling. They made a memorable cameo together in a movie called Leprechaun III. Both of them are good actresses, but I wanted to single out one of them in this video. Zoe Trilling worked a lot through the 1980s and 90s, in a lot of TV shows and movies that guys like to watch. She was particularly famous for her work in horror movies. Zoe deserved a chance to be in bigger and better projects, but that's something you can say about a lot of girls. Acting is a hard business, but she gave good performances in the shows she was in. She was born Geraldine Mae Betzler in Wisconsin. From an early age, she seemed to be very bright, talented, and determined. Her family moved to New York, where she studied dance. Then, at age 18, she moved to Los Angeles to pursue a career in acting and dance. Zoe supported herself by working at a bakery and selling juice. She also taught aerobics in various studios, including one owned by Jane Fonda. Jane's workout routines were pretty intense, so if Zoe was working for her, she had to be extremely physical. She started her acting career in 1985. At this time, and for a while, she still went by her given name of Jerry Betzler. Her film debut was as a dancer in the musical comedy Girls Just Want to Have Fun. She went on to have smaller parts in lots of popular TV shows like Hunter, Guiding Light, 21 Jump Street, Married with Children, MacGyver, Jake and the Fat Man, and others. It's uncertain when she first started using the name of Zoe Trilling, but by 1991 she went by that name full-time. Her first real significant film role was in the action movie Fear from 1988. She played the daughter of the hero character. The next year, she played a prominent role in the horror movie Amityville 4: The Evil Escapes from 1989. This TV movie is an underrated entry in the Amityville series, but it had a good cast all around, and I think it's an interesting story. The Amityville movie series is peculiar. A lot of people like trashing on the sequels, sometimes for years, but as time goes on, some of the movies become better liked. Amityville 4 seems to fall into that category. With cast members like Patty Duke and Jane Wyatt, Zoe was in pretty good company. That's just the thing with Zoe. In just about every project she was in, she worked with other good actors. She was always pretty capable. She went on to do more horror movies like Dr. Giggles, Night Terrors, Hellbound, Night of the Demons 2, and Leprechaun III. Night Terrors, released in 1993, needs to be specifically mentioned. In this movie, Zoe was the heroine. Robert Englund, the star, played the villain. It should have been a breakout opportunity for her. After all, Robert Englund was legendary for playing Freddy Krueger. She had a chance to play opposite of him. The sad fact is that there was a ton of upset during the production of this movie. It wasn't her fault, or Englund's, but rather the production company. The original director quit over changes to the script and shooting location, and was replaced by the famous director Tobe Hooper. It was all for naught. The movie didn't do well. Critics were harsh. Zoe should have gotten another chance at a big, important part like this, but it wasn't to be. Her next really notable role was in Night of the Demons 2 from 1994, as the bad girl, Shirley Finnerty. She wasn't the main villain for sure, but she was definitely an antagonist. Shirley ends up getting killed, of course. This actually became Zoe's best-known role due to her strong performance. Shirley was a mean little thing. This is just a good movie anyway. Watch it if you haven't. It's got twists that you don't see coming, and the heroic nun character is funny and awesome. Leprechaun III, from the same director as Night of the Demons 2, featured Zoe in a short but memorable cameo along with 2 other actors from that film. I talk more about that in my video on Merle Kennedy and Zoe Trilling. Zoe's last real film was in 1996. It was a TV movie called Last Exit to Earth. It was one of the few science fiction shows, in TV or film, she appeared in, and she played a character called Goldfinger. Besides Fear, she did some other action movies, including To Protect and Serve and The Sun Chaser. Zoe did very little in the way of straight comedy or drama. She was a physical person, so she could handle action, horror, and sci-fi roles. Odd enough, even in those roles, she could occasionally be funny or dramatic. Her last 2 acting efforts were a couple of odd little short films in 1996 and 1997. For whatever reason, after this, she just dropped out. That's kind of sad, because I do believe she was on the verge of major stardom. She was a good-looking, talented actress and bound to have a leading role that was super popular in the mainstream. After this, Zoe divided her time between New York City and LA, teaching dance. It appears that she became a high-profile dance instructor and personal trainer. Sometime after that, she worked as a human relations director at Watermark Financial in LA. Sadly, Zoe Trilling passed away in 2023 at the age of 57. Way too young. The cause of death has not been made public. In her later years, Zoe was not on social media of any kind. It's hard to say what all she was up to in her post-show business years. Many people that worked with her, including producers and directors, all felt she was deserving of a much bigger career. As a matter of fact, she was sought out to do commentary for the Night of the Demons 2 Blu-ray release, but they just couldn't find her. Another thing she did that I think is cool is work in the Loop Group. What's the Loop Group? I didn't know either, but I looked it up. Apparently, it's an industry term for a small group of actors who was hired to add background dialogue and crowd noises to finished films in post-production. I always wondered who did that sort of thing. It turns out that people are hired to do that professionally. Zoe was noted to give convincing delivery, so those disembodied voices that you hear sounded authentic. One thing was for sure, Zoe wasn't afraid to work, and she did it a lot. Maybe she didn't feel appreciated in her acting career, but the truth is that a lot of people have discovered her work since the 2010s, and like her a lot. Fans of Night of the Demons 2 will never forget her. Zoe Trilling, the beautiful actress and dancer, more than makes the grade as a Babe of the Day, Babe of the Day.